silver star is making a scene. Eden, just lie down. Lie down. Thank you. Hey everybody, welcome back. So I wanted to do a video about my Mitrofanoff journey and where we're at right now. I got my Mitrofanoff in 2017 and I did a couple of videos then, and now we're like a good few years in, and I felt like it was a good time. So I have had issues with my incontinence for basically my entire life. Like that's a CP bonus right there. And I wanted to become more independent with it and have more of a management plan rather than like a response plan. So we got into investigating and found the Mitrofanoff. If you don't know what that is, I'll post the video up there somewhere so you can check that out. But basically, I have a stoma just under my belly button, and I catheterized through that stoma. And getting that surgery, the best decisions I've made in my life because it's opened up a whole lot of opportunities that I didn't realize it would. Having this has improved my quality of life, physically and also socially and emotionally, and I'm going to talk a little bit about why that is. The last update that I did on YouTube was like 2-3 weeks after I had the op. It was a whole situation. So I didn't actually make a video about how it's been since then. A couple of things that changed pretty instantly. I was living with chronic infections. I was basically taking antibiotics like every couple months, and I just felt nauseous all day, every day, and I just got used to it. And so when I didn't have that because my bladder was functioning the way it's supposed to, that was nice. I also realized that I, before my Mitrofanoff, had chronic dehydration, and I think that was a subconscious decision that I made. If I drink anything, I'm gonna need a bathroom, and then I need people to help me with that, and so we'll just not drink anything. When I got my Mitrofanoff, my brain registered that I was thirsty, which didn't really do that that regularly before. So I drink more water now than I did before. Making a concerted effort on the water though, because like water's hard for me. I don't know why, but it's a journey. We'll get there. One thing I remember after I had the op, I went home for 2 weeks and had to go back to the hospital to make sure that everything was working. It never really occurred to me that we had to test it. I was under the impression he would remove the bandages and it would like magically be working. I learned some lessons that day. So I was in the hospital and I remember feeling really excited because I was like, today is the day that my bladder will listen to me and I will never leak again. So the surgeon came and took everything out, and it was all fine. And we waited for my bladder to fill a little bit. I think it was like 20 minutes or something. So it didn't take that long, and we came back, and not a lot of people at the hospital had seen how Mitrofanoff worked or like knew about it. So it was very cool. Like we were all learning together. It was like magic. He came and he was teaching us how it worked, and I've used catheters before, but this was different. We had like reorganized my body. So because we used my appendix, and not like a piece of my intestine, that's also a possibility. I learned so many things that your body can be. So we used my appendix because it's small, the catheters are small, and put it in the stoma, and it was like nobody was breathing. I wasn't breathing, he was breathing, but the rest of us were not breathing. We were waiting for this like magical thing to happen. When it worked and it flowed, I was like, look, I'm a magician. And that was amazing. We have that on video. I don't know where that is, but I can maybe find it. I don't think I'll find it. But you can imagine. And I was ready for like that to be the way of life now. It didn't super work out that way. What has made this such a great decision for me is that I can ask anybody basically to help me with it, and it's not super awkward because I'm not asking you to put me on a toilet or to like take my pants off. It's literally like you lift my shirt and you put a catheter into my stoma and we're winning. It was really interesting though, because something I didn't realize is that you do actually have to train your bladder to hold. That's been like a 2-year experience where in the beginning it was weird and I leaked a lot, and then it sort of clicked into a mode of, oh, I'm supposed to wait. And that worked for like a while. And then I got like one infection and my bladder freaked out, and it sort of derailed that a little bit. We'd be doing the catheter and it would wait like 5 seconds before we got it in that I would leak. And I'm like, well, thank you for that, buddy. I think that was really convenient of you. So now I use different meds to manage my bladder, and they're working. It took me a while before I got to a point where I was like, okay, we should maybe use meds for this because my body is not doing it on its own. I was quite determined to have my body work just with like the power of my mind and like train it into submission, and it just didn't happen. Literally the day that I started taking these meds, it was working. And that was like 3 years in. So I'm a little bit annoyed with myself that I was stubborn in that way. Maybe it's internalized ableism, I don't know. And things that I discovered was that catheters are a whole game that you have to just kind of wade your way through. I need size 8 French catheters, which is basically a pediatric size catheter. I don't know if there was a shortage, I don't know, but they were hard to get. And so when we couldn't get those, we used feeding tubes, which don't super work because they're not really designed for that, they're designed to get things into your body rather than things leaving. So they're very slow, but they do work. So I'm not saying go use feeding tubes. I think that's a very bad idea. We did what we had to do. In the beginning, we found short ones, which are apparently female catheters, which makes a lot of sense to me because it's not, you don't have to go as far. And I thought that would be easier for me to handle because remember, this whole mission was about building independence. But then we discovered that the short ones actually don't love staying in my body and we had to hold it, which becomes like a lot of admin. It's also harder to be discreet. Yeah, it's more awkward. So we got long ones and those work really well because you can put it in the bottle and then you can work with the catheter and you don't have to worry about it like spilling everywhere. And it's not just about like the length, like there's a lot of catheters that have super plastic and those are hard to open. So my preferred catheter is the acacia catheters because they have paper backs and I can bite those open. So that works well for me. They also sponsor me with that, which is wonderful. I realized how expensive it is to pee independently as a disabled person. So the fact that they sponsor me with my catheters every month is an amazing thing, and I truly, truly appreciate them for doing that. I was actually doing it on my own. I was getting kind of good at it. It still took a while, but I was doing it. I think the fastest I did it was maybe like 6 minutes, and then you wait to like pee. But 6 minutes to like get the catheter into my body and not leaking all over the show. And then the pandemic hit, and I was at home, but I could go, and so I've sort of got out of the habit. I can still do it. It's just taking longer now, and sometimes you can't wait. So I get help with that. But I'm getting back into it, so maybe I'll do a video at some point about how that works for me and how I do it. Maybe. I have to get better at it. If we don't tell you what is happening, you basically won't know what's happening. I think the most interesting place that I've catheterized was probably at my friend's party, and we ended up on the roof. It's a good time. I needed the bathroom, and we were like, we'll just do it here. And so it was really dark because nighttime. We used like a cell phone torch, and for some reason I didn't have the bottle with me. The bottle was not in my bag where I was. It should have been in my bag, but it was not. So I use baby bottles mostly because they have lids and also because they have measurements on them. So you can track. I don't know if that's like a normal thing for people, but that's I feel is a normal thing for disabled people, or at least people with bladder issues. We used an empty beer bottle, and like, did that work? Yes. Did anyone know what was happening? No, except for like the 3 people who were involved in putting it in. And then everything was fine. Like, we carried on with our evening, and like 10-15 minutes later, we took it out, and it was sorted. Getting Mitrofanoff affected my like emotional self, and I think psychologically as well. If we needed to get upstairs, I would be really reluctant for people to carry me, or if we were going somewhere, to put me in their car, because if I leaked, then people would know and it would be like uncomfortable. And I'm so used to having like 5 different pairs of pants in my bag to make sure that if I had a crazy day with my bladder, that it would be fine. That I always had options. And that anxiety actually takes up way more space in my mind than having to think about how many catheters to pack in my bag and when I need to do it. There's less to think about now. Even though it's more structured, it's not as stressful. And that's a win. People kind of, I think, underestimate how much stress is in our bodies not working and our bodies not listening. I'm very happy that I don't have that level of stress anymore. Is it stressful when like there's a global shortage or a shipping delay with catheters? Yes. How am I gonna pee without catheters? It's a big concern, and you can find solutions to that more easily than like my body just doesn't do this the way that everybody else's does. It still doesn't, but that's okay. I feel more confident and comfortable in asking people to help me now. But it's not super private or intimate. People can just help me with it, and it's not a big deal. And that's amazing. And ultimately, I think that it's been such a good thing in my life. It's given me way more independence so I can engage more with the world around me because I'm not tied to people who know how to assist me. It's been a really empowering experience for me because if somebody doesn't know how to help me with it, I'll just teach you. It's simple and it's easy for me to communicate. People tend to get really excited about helping me with it because it's a cool thing. I would recommend it to anybody that asked me about it. I was excited about it when I got it. I'm still excited about it. Totally, totally worth it. If anyone has any questions about it, or if you have a Mitrofanoff and you have similar experiences or completely different experiences, put them down below in the comments and we can have a convo about it. I'm also wondering, and this could be really far-fetched, but if I'm in an accident or any kind of situation where I'm not able to communicate what's going on with my catheter situation, I worry that people are going to assume that it's a super pubic catheter and try to put a 14 French catheter into my body and like break the whole system. I'm pretty sure that wouldn't happen. I'm not sure. If you're a medical person and you're watching this, let me know about that because that'd be helpful. I've read somewhere that some people get mid-alert bracelets for their Mitrofanoffs. Let me know if that's a real thing. If you have one, let me know. So that's what I have to say. But for now, I'm gonna stop talking now, and I'll see you next time.